Hey guys, it is time for another book haul. Hey guys, if you are new here, welcome to The Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this is a new first radio, thanks for sticking around. It is time for another book haul. We are here for a fall book haul covering the months of everything I got in September, October, and November. Yes, we have a Christmas tree finally. No, it isn't decorated just yet. It is new in the house, but the next time you see it, it will be decorated. But you know what? I think it gives a nice little kind of transition from fall to winter, and the fact that it's here, but it's not decorated yet. So, but I did want to be a little bit comfy going through all of these books. A lot of these books I either got on discount at stores local to me, or some were pre-orders, and a lot were through a lot of the book sales that were going on to kind of start off the holiday season. I kind of took advantage of some of those, like on Amazon, and Book Outlet was another one that I went to. I don't know exactly which is from which. I think I might have an idea, but we will go ahead and get into it. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible because I am seeing my battery and it looks a little low. So we're going to try to see if we can get through as much as we can get through and not have a battery die on us. So let's get started. So first up, this went on sale and I had to get it because it is my favorite cover of a book I already own. I already own Lady Luck, the original cover. This is by an author local to me that I love. But she is going through, or she had gone through, a kind of third cover that she did for her series. And the second cover that I absolutely loved wasn't going to be offered anymore, as far as I know. So it was at a discount and I went and got it, and that is the Lady Luck, this kind of cover. And I just love these covers. The artwork in them, I don't know, I love it. I mean, I still love this cover too. This is very sensual in style, I think, but and it's from one of my, and this is like a scene in the book, and so that's why maybe I like it more, is that I know this scene. But so now I own both of these. Had this one, but had to pick up this one. I still have to pick up some of the other books in the series, so we'll be doing that. But loved this, kind of cover and series. So went and picked that up. If you are curious what this is about, this is book one in the Stapled Magnolias series, which takes place in a kind of casino town off the Gulf, and just very found family, very sweet main characters, and just a really good, supportive, loving romance with great friendships. So, very healing. Like, if you're looking for a romance that's gonna be sweet with a little bit of spice and very much healing, then highly, highly recommend. So next up was a book that I had done an ARC review for, and when it was coming out in hardcover, I had to go and get it. Plus, it came in this lovely little gift box with a whole bunch of swag I will show you in a moment. That is Black Warden by Sierra Hartford. I loved this book. Loved it. 5 stars for me. I love, if you take off the dust jacket, you have this absolutely, beautiful cover underneath. And it was just really, really good. I loved, it's kind of got this gothic story to it, where you have this magic house, and every so often a woman is brought to this house to kind of become a bride of the fantasy world or go into the fae world. And it's in there that she meets this fae character, and she kind of starts to fall in love with him. And he's got a very tragic backstory himself. It's a very short read, so I really don't want to give too much away, but highly, highly recommend. Fae world, fae magic. Loved the house. It's almost like its own sentient character. The main female character is human, and she's just got this inner strength that I admire and love. And so far, I don't think there's a sequel to it, but I've even written the author, and I'm like, please, you could make a sequel to this, and please do so. So highly, highly, highly recommend. has gothic vibes to it, which I'm not usually a gothic person. You know me, I'm not really into gothic, but this one, absolutely wonderful. And when I did get it, it came with, you know, these beautiful bookmarks, and I'm not going to show you all of them, but like some very absolutely beautiful artwork, that some of them I don't want to put on here because they are on the spicy side, but I did absolutely love it. And she did, I forgot to say, when I ordered this, I did get it signed. And so inside, she wrote a nice little message for me, and it says, "Nicole, welcome to the Gatehouse." And then she signed it. So I loved it because the Gatehouse is the name of the book, and I just loved it. So yes, absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. So next up, I picked this one up because it was getting rave reviews. I have not read it. It is another kind of gothic-y thing. I know I'm getting all these gothic books when I say I'm not into gothic, but you know, changed my mind. But this one looked really good, and without knowing that it had a gothic vibe to it, I was still drawn to the storyline. And that is Anathema by Carrie Lake. I have not read it yet. I think we are slated to read this as I think our gothic choice for the Romantasy bingo. But basically you have, there are whispers about what lurks in the witch Nell, the forest where sinners go to die. The villagers call it the Eating Woods because what's taken is never given back. Only those who've lost their senses would dare to go near it, or the banished. Maveth Bronwick knows better than any to breach the misty labyrinth of trees, but a tragic turn of events compels her beyond the archway of bones to the boundary no mortal has crossed before. One that cloaks a dark and fantastical world that is as dangerous as it is alluring. It is there that he dwells, the cursed lord of, I think it's Edolan, I'm not sure, the one tasked to keep her hidden from the magehood that seeks to crucify her in the name of an arcane prophecy. Zavander Redane, known to his prey as the Scorpion, is the coldest, most calculated assassin in all of Etheria. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correct. Maveth's blood is the key to breaking his despised curse and vanquishing the slumbering evil in Witch Nell. Unfortunately for Lord Redane, fate has other plans for the irresistible little enchantress, and his growing obsession with her threatens to destroy everything, including himself. So, sounded really good. Loved the sprayed edges on this. Pretty end papers, and let me see, and then it has this, you know, crow embossed on the cover there, or it could be a raven, I'm not sure, but sounded really good. Has a lot of good reviews. Don't know too many teasers on it because, you know, I avoid those until I read it, but yes, got that. Next up on one of the Amazon sales, there was a series that has caught my eye a few times, so finally for the price I decided to pick it up, and that is the Bewitched series. I got books 1 and 2, Bewitched and Bespelled by Laura Thalassa. I have read from her before, and it was kind of a dystopian world where it was interesting enough to keep me kind of wanting to read the sequel. So I'm curious to see if it was just that series or if I really do like the author. So it says, at age 20, Celine Bowers desperately hopes to be accepted into the Henbane Coven, an academy for young witches. Since one of the requirements for entry is to connect with her powers via a quest through the wilderness, Celine books a trip to South America. When a nefarious supernatural force tries to drag her plane from the sky, Celine's magic awakens to save her life. At a cost, using her powers devours her memories one by one. Worse, when Celine braves the jungle and discovers the source of the attack, she finds herself awakening an ancient evil, Memnon the Cursed, who mistakes Celine for his long-dead wife, the wife who betrayed him. Celine manages to escape and begin her studies at Henbane, but when Memnon turns up at the coven and witches are found dead across campus, Celine becomes entangled in a dangerous plot, accused of the murders on the basis of her memory loss. Celine must rely on Memnon's help for answers, and his plans for her will change everything. So it kind of gives me a little bit of the Mummy vibes with Brendan Fraser, where you had the mummy and he had his love, and now his love's reincarnated, and kind of story there, which obviously if you haven't seen the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser, watch the first two. The third one, kind of questionable, but the first two, absolutely fantastic. Love them. Highly recommend them. So this kind of gave me those vibes with the South American jungle and the ancient god kind of awakening, thinking this is his long dead wife. So it's interesting spin on things. I'm not going to read the synopsis for this one because obviously spoilers, but yes, I did get these two so we can start our journey. Well, poop. Of course, my phone died. I don't know how much was caught of the last book, so we're just going to roll with it, and hopefully editing me can take care of it so that you never know that there was an issue other than me telling you. But I'm telling you just in case editing me can't fix it. So we'll just go from there and we'll just keep going. So anyway, next up, I picked up at one of our local discount stores this book. It was $3.99, and I'm going to tell you because the price tag's on the cover anyway. And that was Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. Now, I have never read a Tessa Bailey book before, but I know that she has a following. I know that there's a lot of people that like her books and they think they're really fun. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and just give that a chance. So basically we have, after losing her job and her fiance in one fell swoop, Natalie Voss returned home to lick her wounds. A few months later, she sufficiently drowned her sorrows in Cabernet, and she's ready to get back on her feet. Sorry, there's a bird outside that I didn't know what it was. It sounded like a baby crying for a second. I was like, She's ready to get back on her feet. She just needs her trust fund to finance her new business venture. Unfortunately, the terms require she marry before she can have the money and, well, dumped. Remember? But Natalie is desperate enough to propose to a man who makes her want to kill him and kiss him in equal measure. August Cates may own a vineyard, but he doesn't know jack about making wine. He's determined to do his late best friend proud no matter what it takes, except his tasting room is empty. His wine is disgusting. Seriously, he saw someone gag. And his buddy's legacy is circling the drain. No bank will give him the loan he needs to turn the business around, and then gorgeous feisty heiress knocks on his door. Natalie has haunted his dreams since the moment they met, but their sizzling chemistry immediately morphed into simmering insults. Now, a quickie marriage could help them both, a sham wedding, a few weeks living under the same roof, and then they can go their separate ways, assuming they make it out alive. How hard could it be? There's just one thing they didn't account for. Their unfortunate, unbearable, undeniable attraction. So it sounded fun. Like I said, I've heard really good things about her other books. So we will try and see how it goes. So next up, another bargain book for $3.99 is Big Little Spells by Hazel Beck. I had never really heard about it, but it just had a really pretty kind of cover. And then the blurb on the back kind of got me. It says, Rebecca Wilde was 18 when she left St. Cyprian, officially stripped of her magic and banished from her home. 10 years later, she's forced to return to face the Joywood Coven, who preside over not just her hometown, but the whole magical world. Rebecca is happy to reunite with her sister and with her friends, but the implications of her return are darker and more dangerous than they could have imagined. The Joywood are determined to prove Rebecca and her friends are a danger to witch kind, and her group faces an impending death sentence if they can't prove otherwise. Rebecca must seek help from the only one who knows how to stop the Joywood, the ruthless immortal Nicholas Frost. Years ago, he was her secret tutor in magic and her secret impossible crush. But the icy immortal is as remote and arrogant as ever, and if he feels anything for Rebecca or witch kind, it's impossible to tell. And so I'm really curious because I'm kind of wondering who Nicholas Frost is and if this is more of like a wintry kind of telling, if you know what I mean. So we're gonna go with that, and yeah, it sounds kind of cool. So next up, I got the newest book in the All Souls trilogy, which I guess is no longer a trilogy, and that is Time's Convert. I actually have all three books. I haven't read them yet. Surprise, surprise. But I do have them all in like a box set, so sadly this is not going to fit into my box set, but I wanted it so that I can continue with this series. I did watch the TV series first, at least the first season, and then I found out it was a book series, stopped watching the TV series, want to read the books, and then go back to the TV series to just kind of see how the two relate to one another. So this will be an addition to that series. I'm not going to go on the blurb on the back because obviously this is basically witches, time traveling, vampires, magical books, possibly saving the world. I'm not sure, but those, the first ones, yes. So next up, during one of the Amazon sales, I ended up picking the entire Bargainer series up. So I got all four. I've got Rhapsodic, A Strange Hymn, The Emperor of Evening Stars, and Dark Harmony. I had heard years ago really good things about this series, and just had never picked it up. I have read recently from Laura Thalassa, like I said when I did the Bewitched ones. So it's really interesting that I'm now getting more of her books, which like the big Bewitched series and then this entire series. But like I said, it sounded really good, had good ratings. So for the past 7 years, Callie has been wearing a bracelet of black beads up her wrist, magical IOUs for favors she once received. Only death or repayment will fulfill her obligations. Everyone knows that if you need a favor, you go to the bargainer to make it happen. He's a man who can get you anything you want at a price. And everyone knows that sooner or later he always collects. But for Callie, he's never asked for repayment. Not until now. When Callie finds the bargainer in her room, a grin on his lips and a twinkle in his eye, she knows things are about to change. At first, it's admitting a truth, a single bead's worth, acknowledging the attraction between them. But the bargainer is after more than just rekindling their connection. Something is happening in the other world. Fae warriors are going missing one by one, and only the women are returned, each in a glass casket, a child clutched to her breast. For the bargainer to save his people, he'll need the help of a siren he spurred long ago, if she can forgive him. So this might be like maybe enemies to lovers, maybe reluctant allies, something of that nature. But like I said, heard really good things. It was a great deal for all 4 books. So we got them. So keeping with series, and again, another Amazon sale, we had read Flawless by Elsie Silver, and we really loved it. It was kind of like a Western rodeo romance with some spice in it. So we ended up picking up the rest of the books in the series. We have Heartless, Reckless, Hopeless, and Powerless. Not going to go too much into them, but like I said, this is kind of the Western rodeo romance. I think at least some of them, at least 2 of them are going to be, I think the brothers, yes, the Eaton brothers, and then kind of their friends, and I think one of their enemies. So it is following that family as well as kind of that Western rodeo scene, with obviously the spice to enjoy. But I did enjoy Flawless, so I'm looking forward to seeing the other characters and their stories. Moving on. So moving on, we got a few more other Amazon discount books that we ended up picking up. And first up, we have Apples Dipped in Gold by Scarlett St. Clair. This is book 2 in her fairy tale retelling series. I read I think it was Mountains Made of Glass. It was really interesting. It was weird for me to count it in retellings, because even though you kind of knew what they were trying to do with which fairy tales they were putting together, it really felt like it was its own darker kind of fairy tale story. So it was well done as far as like the retelling, where it felt like its own story. So this one is the sequel to that one, and you basically have, orphaned at a young age, Samara has been left under the care of her 3 horrible brothers for many years. But just when she thinks she cannot take another day of their abuse, a handsome prince offers for her hand in marriage. Samara's brothers agree to the wedding in exchange for a large dowry, but on her way to salvation in her new kingdom, her carriage is ambushed and she is rescued by Lore, the wicked prince of Nightshade, who demands a favor in return. Samara believes that Lore's request is meant to punish her for the crimes against his kind, but punishment is only half of Lore's plan. The truth is that the elven prince has pined for Samara for 7 long years. His power over poisons rivals none in the Enchanted Forest, but Samara is a new kind of toxin in his blood, and all he can think about. Can the Prince of Nightshade manage to find a remedy, or will he succumb to her love? So I'm wondering if, because it's Apples Dipped in Gold, if this is like a Snow White retelling. So, plus it says like 7 years, like I don't know. So it just gives me Snow White vibes, so we shall see. But like I said, I liked the first one, so we will continue. So next up, I kept seeing this one in the stores and I finally was just like, okay, it's on sale. I'm going to grab it. And that is Pen Pal by JT is it Geisinger? Gessinger? I'm not sure. But basically I loved it. It had the, sprayed edges with the I'll wait forever if I have to, which, I mean, that kind of got me on that one too. Not my typical forte. I don't think I have ever read a prison romance. I mean, at least not like a human prison, maybe like a fae prison, but like not a human one. So it says, the first letter arrived the day my husband was buried. It was postmarked from the state penitentiary and it contained a single sentence, I'll wait forever if I have to. It was signed by Dante, a man I didn't know. Out of simple curiosity, I wrote back to him and asked him what he was exactly waiting for. His reply, you. I told the mystery man he had the wrong woman. He said he didn't. I said we'd never met, but he said I was wrong. We went back and forth exchanging letters every week that grew increasingly more intimate. Then one day the letters stopped. When I found out why, it was already too late. Dante was at my doorstep, and nothing on earth could have prepared me for what happened next. So I'm intrigued. Like, it sounds interesting. I don't know what to expect, and it's the mystery of like, who was he in her life up until like going to prison. So, I haven't heard too much about it, but we're going to go ahead and read it because, yeah, it just sounded kind of interesting. Next up, I ended up picking up another book in the Hellbent series to add to my collection. Obviously, we will dive into these at some point, and that is Demon with Benefits by Aurora Asher. Obviously, I'm loving the sprayed edges, and I can't wait to like kind of have them all poking out on my shelves. But basically this is another one of like the kind of demon romances. I think the first one is like one of the brothers and he's like a rock star and they all kind of go through their, I don't want to read about the blurb just in case it has any spoilers from the first two books, but it is kind of a paranormal demon romance with, I hear like a little bit of comedy. So we shall see. But like I said, I loved it. This was a, sprayed edges by, I guess you could say. Plus it's in the series. So next up, these were, I think these were some pre-orders or I just got them. I am not sure. These were a little bit further back. But we got Druid Cursed by C.J. Burright. I haven't seen too much about it, but I thought the cover was beautiful. And then look at that. I just thought that was stunning. I loved the little lamplight at top. And then, of course, the blurb got me. And like even right here on the front, it says he waited 6 centuries for her. So had to do. It says every 50 years, Kellen Ravenwood escapes his magical prison for 7 days. This Samhain is his last chance to break the curse or he'll be found bound forever. All he needs is a sacrifice, the blood of Maggie O'Malley, the last living descendant of the witch who cursed him. Maggie, desperate for cash after a brutal divorce, jumps at the chance to win $500,000 prize at a mysterious Irish estate. She never expected ancient rituals, strange magic, or Kellen, the dangerously charming man who claims she's the key to his freedom. But Maggie won't be anyone's sacrifice, and if there's another way to break the curse, she'll find it, because some destinies are meant to be rewritten, and some love stories are worth defying fate for. So, I liked it. Mysterious mansion, kind of curious what's going to go on, and, is she going to have to sacrifice her life, or is it going to be like, really, she just needs to prick her finger and drop some blood, and yay. So, we're going to go ahead, and like I said, I'm excited to read that one. Another one that I got that had a beautiful cover and some nice sprayed edges and a great little blurb is Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. I just thought this cover was stunning, and then you got to the sprayed edges here, and it was just, once again, really, really pretty. And you have Welcome to Weatherstone College. Don't walk the halls late at night, don't disturb the ancient magic, and don't, under any circumstances, ever trust a spellcaster. When my magic bloomed at 22, the last thing I expected was to receive an acceptance letter to the most prestigious witch college in the world. It's not that I don't have magic, it's just unpredictable. But with Weatherstone a part of my family legacy, I'm determined to live up to their expectations. A task that is almost derailed on my very first day when I come face to face with Logan Kingston, the son of my father's enemy. I'm warned to avoid the powerful spellcaster at all costs, but apparently Logan did not receive the same memo. The more time I spend around him, the more I crave his unsettling attention. And as hate flirts with obsession, I'm left wondering if there's another side to the decades-old feud between our fathers. On top of that, Weatherstone is not at all what I expected. Built on ancient blood of necromancers in battle, the magic here is unpredictable as mine, and I sense a dark energy stalking my footsteps. When a monster attacks me, I have no choice but to turn to the strongest warlock in our school, Logan. After all, to fight a monster, I'll need a monster. So, sounded really good, curious, and it was pretty. Okay. Next up is another discount buy that I got. This is the third book in this series. I have not read yet. It just looked really cute, and that is the Cursed Princess Clubs. Like I said, this is volume 3. It sounds like it's a little fantasy, might be retellings, a little comical manga series. That's actually based on, I think, some webcomics. Like I said, I haven't read them yet, but they just looked, they just looked kind of cute and fun. And I know that there are some challenges where you have to read a manga or something like that, and sometimes the ones that I want aren't always available online, and I don't usually like paying full price for manga. I know. But it's just because I go through them so quickly that to me, to spend full price on it is, I could pay for a 600-page book that would last me for quite a long time. So it's a preference, it's a choice, but if I do see some that are on sale, I will pick them up. And so like I said, I have the first 3 and I kind of save them for when I need one of those mangas, or if I need a quick read, which I might need in December because I'm like 25 books behind my Goodreads goal. So these 3 books might come in handy then. So next up on sale, I ended up finding, I think this was the Amazon sale, or actually, I think this was through Book Outlet, which I am not sponsored by them, but hey, if they want to, I am here. But I do advocate because they do give some really great discounts on, not exactly the newest books in town, but pretty new. And so I ended up getting the next 2 books in the Flesh and Bone series, which are What Hunts Inside the Shadows and What Lurks Between the Fates. I'm not going to read the synopsises for them because I do have the first one somewhere. I know I'm reading for, it says What Lies Beyond the Veil is the first one. I think they're a fae romance or a fantasy romance. Yes, it says Princess of Fairy, and I'm not going to read any more on that because I don't want any spoilers. But yes, so I have the... As I drop it, I have the next 2 books in that series to continue on. Okay, so we are done with the paperbacks. I think I went over 1 hardcover, but the most have been paperbacks. So now we are on to the hardcovers. So first up is a box set that we found at our discount store, and that is the Holly Black box set of The Stolen Heir. So it has The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne in them. I don't think there's no like sprayed edges or anything to them. I mean, they do have little cute things on there, but I did read The Cruel Prince, and I think it was like Tales from Elflame, and I wanted to continue that series. I don't know if I have to read that series before I read this series. So if you know, let me know in the comments below. But it's basically back to the world of Elflame, which is a fae world that does have some twisted little fae in it, but not too sure what it's about. But like I said, I know it's fae warriors, fae kingdoms, and they twist kind of their tails. It is the darker side of fae, but not like super dark as far as I know. And then like I said, I don't want to read the blurb because if it does have any spoilers, but I got it because it was on sale, and I know I wanted to finish the other series as well, and if this is a kind of continuation in that world, I have it. So next up, I ended up getting Starbringer by Tracy Wolff and Nina Croft. This just kind of looked cool, and like when you opened it, it had, I mean, it's a little tear right there, but it had like the planets, and then like nothing really on the cover, but it just kind of looked interesting, and it sounded pretty cool. It's a little bit of like a sci-fi fantasy, which I'm not usually into, but I'm trying new things and it sounded good. Plus, it said that this is Firefly meets Breakfast Club, so I've seen a few episodes of Firefly, but I love the Breakfast Club, so... The sun is dying, and it's happening way too damn fast. With the clock ticking and the 9 planets' only hope of survival rests on a fancy space station and an alien artifact it's carrying. which is why it really sucks when some jackass doesn't want the universe saved and blows that station up while you're still on it. So if your only choices are flammable death or stealing a flying hunk of space junk, you pick that busted-ass spaceship. Even if it leaves 7 strangers with deadly secrets trapped together, a princess, a prisoner, a con artist, a warrior, a priestess, a mercenary, and an asshole in charge of us all. Now every faction in the galaxy is hunting this ship, from the Sisterhood to the Corporation, and the rebellions joining in on the fun. We just need to stop drinking, fighting, and screwing long enough to evade them all and save the freaking universe. Somehow. Because apparently the only thing standing between the dying sun and the ultimate salvation is 7 unlikely misfits. Heroes. So I just thought that sounded fun. I've seen some animes with similar, the spaceship of survival, as I call it. So it sounded interesting. Obviously some quirky, fun wording in the blurb. So it should be a fun time. And another discount purchase, like I said, I love me to shop some sales, especially when it comes to books, They be getting expensive, so we find a way. And this one just sounded really interesting. It's probably more of like a historical fiction, and that is The Great Witch of Brittany by Louisa Morgan. Brittany in 1762. There hasn't been a witch born in the Okiri clan. I do not know how to pronounce that. I am sorry. For generations. According to the elders, that line is dead, leaving the clan vulnerable to persecution. Ursula Orkiri, or Orchire, I am not sure, has been raised on stories of witches of the past, but the only magic she knows are the false spells her mother weaves over the gullible women who visit their fortune-telling caravan. Everything changes for Ursula, or it's Ursula, I don't know because it has an E at the end, comes of age and sparks of power flare to life. Guided by an ancient grimoire and the whispers of her ancestors, Ursula is destined to walk the same path as the great witches of old. First, the Orkiri magical line must survive. Danger hovers over Ursula. Will she be able to escape the bloodlust of the mob and the flames of the pyre? So it just seemed interesting. I don't know if it's a romance involved. I would assume maybe, because it just seems to be kind of the way with some of these. But it sounded intriguing, and apparently she's written a lot on some of the other books. You have like A Secret History of Witches, The Witch's Kind, and The Age of Witches. So I don't know if this is the first book in the series or not. Let me see. Does it have... It doesn't say if they're all linked together, so I will have to look that up. Or if you know, drop me a line in the comments below. But it just sounded interesting, so we're going to go with it, and that's why we got it. So next up, we ended up getting one of the Carissa Broadbent Crowns of Nyaxia novels, and that is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. I've been liking Carissa Broadbent so far, so I wanted to pick this one up. And I'm not going to read the blurb because I don't know how this relates to the series, but I know that in Nyaxia you have this kind of fantasy world. There are vampires, there is romance, there is some spice. You have some of the other books that she's written, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and you have the Serpent and the Wings of Night series, and then you have kind of the standalone books, which is like the 6 Scorched Ridges, which I read, but I wasn't a huge fan of, and then you have this one. So it's kind of within the Nyaxia world, just not relating, or maybe it does, I don't know. But like I said, I liked the other stories so far, and decided to go with that one. Then we ended up getting The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. This one was on my watch list for book releases, and then I just never picked it up. So I found it on sale and decided we were to go with it. It did have a really kind of pretty cover. I do like my dark covers. Also underneath is really kind of beautiful. It says Hazel on it, so that is our main character. And basically we have Hazel Treppas has always known she wasn't like her siblings. A 13th child promised to one of the gods, she spends her childhood waiting for her benefactor, Merrick, the god of death, to arrive and take her away. When he does, he lays out exactly what he's planned for Hazel's future. She will become a great and celebrated healer. To aid her endeavors, Merrick blesses Hazel with a gift, the ability to instantly deduce the exact cure needed to treat the sick. But all gifts come with a price. Hazel can see when death has claimed a patient and is tasked with ending their suffering permanently. Haunted by the ghost of those she's killed, Hazel longs to run, but destiny brings her to the royal court where she meets Leopold, a rakish prince with a disdain for everyone and everything. And that's where Hazel faces her biggest dilemma yet. Should she save the life of a king marked to die? Hazel knows that she is what she is meant to do and what her heart is urging her toward, but what will happen if she goes against the will of death himself? So, kind of seems pretty cool, and we will see where it goes. Then, of course, I know that this series has many, many, many fans. I had yet to read it, but saw it as part of a sale, so I had to pick it up, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I don't know much about it, so we're reading it. It says, the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than, I think it's Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilia's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will if he discovers what Peyton is. Completely ordinary. So I do like the idea that you have somebody who's completely without powers in a competition in trials for people with powers. And I'm expecting her to have some clever antics up her sleeves to help her survive. So I've heard really good things about it. So we're gonna take a chance. I shouldn't say chance because it seems to be really good anyway. But we're gonna go ahead and go with that. Last up, we are beginning what I like to call my pretty pages. I mean, I know we had some sprayed edges with her paperbacks, but these ones, yeah, you'll see why. So basically, I had been wanting this one for a while, so when I saw it on sale with the sprayed edges, I had to get it, and that is A Curse of Shadows and Ice. This is, I think, a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Beauty and the Beast is one of my more favorite fairy tales, at least the original ones. I do like the animated Disney one, yes, I do, but I do like the older, like, fairy tale theater ones, and then there was, like, a really, really pretty really well done live action from France, which was really had much more of the fantasy element with it. So I can't remember the name of it, but check that out. It might just be Beauty and the Beast, to be honest. But as you can see, we have some beautiful sprayed edges and then the end papers. So the rose is frequent because the rose does exist in at least every rendition I have heard of. The kingdom of Althea is taken almost everything from Arabella. Her mother, her happiness, her sense of self, all it's given her in return is shame of being the unwanted daughter, the princess no one notices. Then the most powerful man in the realm, known for his ruthlessness, demands Arabella's hand in marriage. Too late, she learns that he and his land are cursed, and now she's married to a beast. There's everything to fear about Felix Osiris, his powerful alchemy, his mercurial temper, and the shadows that seem to slither through his very blood. Oh, excuse me. When Arabella discovers she's destined to break the 200-year-old curse of ice and perpetual darkness in which his empire has been caught, she knows her life depends on playing the role her new husband expects. She'll pretend she's strong, she'll pretend she's brave, but nothing about her magnetic husband is what she expected, and her feelings for him begin to turn from bitterness to burning desire. Yet not even his shadows can obscure the truth, that the Shadow Emperor is truly a monster, and so is she. So, curious, like, is this gonna kind of have like a Shrek ending where like she kisses him and she becomes a beast too? I don't know, but it sounded really good, and like I said, it was really stunningly beautiful cover and edges. Next up, I've heard some good reviews on it. I wanted it before the reviews came out, and no, I did not read the reviews. I just heard they were good because I saw, you know, the stars and everything. And that is Seven Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton. Once again, the sprayed edges on it were very beautiful. Pretty end papers. And then, of course, the cover that says, "Let There Be Darkness." So I was intrigued. And we got Viola Sinclair has hidden her shadow magic her whole life. Discovery means certain death. For in the kingdom of Aragoa, dark magic is forbidden. When the queen finds out Viola's secret, she sends the royal assassin to kill her. He is given a cursed tattoo, 7 thorns on his arm for the 7 days he has to complete his deadly task. If he fails, he will be the one to die. The assassin is Rose Roklart, I'm not sure. Entitled Prince, arrogant fellow student at Vandenberg Academy, and Viola's mortal enemy. The chance to strike Viola down is at Rose's fingertips, but he needs something from Viola, and he's willing to spare her life to get it. Forced to work together, Viola and Rose uncover terrible secrets, sinister threats, and an irresistible attraction. Can they learn to trust each other in time to save themselves and bring light back to Aragoa? Not gonna lie, this kind of gives me like Snow White the Huntsman vibes, you know, like he's sent to go and kill her, but he kind of needs something from her, so will he die? And it just seemed really interesting. Like I said, it had a really pretty cover, sprayed edges, good plot, so we went with it. Next up, I ended up getting Ship of Spells by H. Leighton Dixon. Obviously, it was a really pretty cover. We had some really pretty sprayed edges on it. The end paper is a map, and then this nice little time glass on it. So it was a pretty cover, and then when I read the premise, I really liked it because it's not something that we've been seeing too much. We're starting to, but you know me, and I love my pirates, and I love my kind of sea adventures, even though I get seasick like no other, but you know, that's what it is. And it says, when Ensign Blue Mage Honor Wren is rescued from the wreckage of her first naval post, she expects death or disgrace. Instead, she wakes up aboard the Touchstone, a mythic vessel whispered of in dockside ballads and royal war rooms alike. With a crew of misfits, a mysterious elven captain, and a mission tied to the Dreadwall, the crumbling barrier that has kept the Overland and the Nether Sea from open war for 100 years. But the tragedy that sank her last ship didn't just take lives, it left something behind. Now Wren carries a secret everyone wants, a magic that's chimeric, arcane, and slowly killing her. But the captain's mission may be her only chance to survive, even if he still doesn't trust her. Caught between privateers, princes, and spies, Wren knows each choice could sink her future or set the sea on fire. So it sounded good. It sounded good. It was pretty. We had to get. Next up, because I had read a few books and had loved it and have quite the collection of this author, it's no surprise I had to add one more to the mix. We will eventually just do an entire video with just her books. And of course, I'm talking about Tricia Levenseller and her new book, What Fury Brings. Once again, my dark cover beauty and these really pretty sprayed edges. I think it's like one of those whips with like a sword at the side. And then, okay, so this was another reason why I got it, because I mean, could you blame me when underneath the slip, the jacket is this and this. Like, this is the cover of the book. I could not. I had to. I had to. Can you blame me? I mean, like, I had to. So, yeah, we got that. We sold. And basically we have, there's a shortage of men in the kingdom of Amara. After a failed rebellion against the matriarchy, most noblemen in the country are dead. Now the women of Amara must obtain their husbands, should they want one, by kidnapping them from other kingdoms, which, just not gonna say anything. Ilaria, a warrior princess vying for the throne, is determined to prove her worth by kidnapping a husband. And not just any husband. To outmaneuver her treacherous cousin, she needs the best. Fortunately, the second-born prince of their greatest enemy is widely known for both his looks and his sweet, docile temperament. He's the perfect choice to secure her claim to the throne. Sanos, heir to the kingdom of Brutus, has nothing but contempt for the idea of society run by women. Trained from birth to fight, lead, and follow in his overbearing father's footsteps, his path has always been set, until he takes his younger brother's place in a drunken prank and finds himself kidnapped, carted off to the Amaran palace, and informed that he is to become the husband of the queen potential Alara. Sanos needs to escape before anyone learns his real identity, and the more he gets to know his captor, the less sure he is that is what he truly wants. So, yes, I'm giggling at the synopsis very much. It's going to be an interesting read. I just think it's going to be a really interesting read. So I am looking forward to getting to that one. Plus, absolutely stunning book. And the last one was one that once I heard it was coming out, I had to get it. I have not read this book. I've wanted to. I know it has a huge following. So when I saw that it was coming out in hardcover with some lovely sprayed edges and you're just gonna see it, I went and had to pre-order it, and that was The Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole. This is the book 1 in the Gods and Monsters. I have heard wonderful things about this series. It's got a good following. And then, like I said, it had really pretty sprayed edges. And then the end paper on that side. And then on the other side. And then underneath was just, I mean, it's a beautiful book. So basically, for those of you who aren't aware of this book or have not read it like myself, let's enjoy. And it basically says, 1,000 years ago, Diana gave up her life in the deserts of Eoria to save her dying sister. She called upon anyone who would listen, not expecting a monster far worse than any nightmare to answer. Now she does what Caden asks, even if it means securing an ancient relic from the very creatures that hunt her. In the old world, his name is Samkael, or Samkael, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. In the new world, it is Liam, but one title remains true throughout time. He is the world ender, a myth to his enemies, and the savior and king of those loyal to him. After the gods' war, he locked himself away, hiding from the world. He denied his crown and responsibilities, leaving the very ones who needed him most to deal with the fallout and the death of their homeworld, until an attack on those he holds dear sends him back to the one realm he never wished to visit again, and into the sights of the enemy he thought imprisoned eons ago. Now enemies older than time must put aside their differences and work together in hopes of saving both their world and every realm in between. So, sounds really interesting, and like I said, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I had to get it. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I think there's like 30 books, maybe around somewhere around there. I'm not sure. I will put the actual total like up here somewhere. But yeah, that's it. That's everything we got for fall, which is still a lot. I wasn't thinking it was gonna be that big. I was trying to curb it. But yeah, so we're gonna have some good reads. If you have read any of these books, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if one sticks out to you. If you are definitely favored towards more than another, let me know the titles, and that way I will kind of try to bump them up on my reading list and get to them sooner rather than later. But I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you found something that you didn't see before and you now have a new book to add to your TBR. I am sorry, not sorry for that. But maybe you've also found some books that were like, oh my God, yes, I've read that. Please read that. That's amazing. Like I said, let me know in the comments below. But I wish you well. Thank you for bearing with me for this video. Wish you well, wishing you the best, and stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and I will see you guys in the next video.